You're hallucinating right now. Don't worry, probably not in the fun way. You haven't accidentally eaten the wrong mushroom, at least I hope not. No, I mean this. The room you're sitting in, the screen in front of you, your hands, the little voice currently turning these words into thoughts, your experience of it all is being constructed inside your head, which is mildly concerning because your brain has never actually seen the outside world. Think about where your brain is. It's inside your skull, completely dark, no windows, no speakers, no tiny skylights. Your brain has probably never seen sunlight, never heard music, never touched another person. It's been trapped inside a wet bone prison since approximately the day you were born, and yet somehow it's convinced itself there's an outside world. So how exactly does the brain do this? Well, it basically gets signals. That's pretty much it. Electrical and chemical activity arriving from sensory systems, i.e. photons hit your eyes, hair cells respond to vibrations, receptors in your skin react to pressure, temperature and change, and your brain sits in the dark receiving all of this, trying to work out what the f*** is actually going on. It doesn't get reality, it gets evidence about reality, and from that evidence, it builds this. Look around, it seems pretty convincing, excellent graphics, decent frame rates, occasional lag when standing up too quickly, but what you're experiencing isn't a tiny cinema screen inside your head showing the world exactly as it is. Your brain processes incomplete sensory information, combines it with context, memory and expectation, and constructs an experience useful enough to keep you alive, which means perception isn't simply world to brain, it's closer to world to some signals to a lot of processing to fuck it, probably a chair, and most of the time that's good enough. Your brain is constantly predicting, not necessarily in the mystical I sense a ghost in the room sort of way, more like based on previous evidence I predict that object is a table, I predict that noise is a car, I predict the email beginning with quick question will ruin my whole afternoon. Your brain uses prior knowledge and incoming sensory information together to work out what is most likely going to happen. And when the prediction is good enough, you experience reality, or at least something close enough to reality that you haven't walked into a 600-pound Siberian tiger recently. Evolution considers this a great success. This explains some weird things. Take optical illusions. You know they're illusions, you can literally be told what's happening. Measure the lines, check the colours, understand the trick, and your perception still says, nope, because conscious knowledge doesn't simply overwrite the machinery constructing what you see. The machinery has assumptions, rules, shortcuts, millions of years of this usually works. Your experience is full of them. You have a blind spot in each of your eyes. There's a place where the optic nerve leaves the retina and you can't see what's there, meaning there's a literal hole in your visual information. Have you noticed? Probably not, because your brain effectively fills in what should be there based on the surroundings, which is nice, very helpful, also slightly terrifying, because your brain encounters missing reality and rather than alerting management, it improvises. And vision gets stranger. Your eyes constantly make rapid movements known as saccades. Your visual information has to deal with the disruption these movements would otherwise cause. Yet you don't experience the world as one constant nauseating slideshow. It feels somewhat stable, normal. Your brain has taken an incredibly messy stream of information, processed the absolute shit out of it, and handed you consciousness, the cleared up version. Kind of like a film editor who never actually showed you the raw footage, which would be fine if the editor worked for you, but it doesn't. It works for evolution, and evolution only has one performance review. Did the animal survive long enough to reproduce? That's it. No bonus points for metaphysical accuracy. Your ancestors didn't need to perceive every aspect of physical reality exactly as it is. They needed to distinguish food from not food, and friend from, oh fuck, run! The ones that were bad at this became brown bread, or archaeological evidence. So the brain you've inherited wasn't built primarily to understand the universe. It was built to keep an extremely horny, funny-looking ape alive on a very small space rock, and now that ape is asking questions about black holes, which feels ambitious. But let's make things worse, because your brain doesn't just predict what's outside you, it also predicts what's happening inside you too. Your heartbeat, your breathing, hunger, temperature and pain, the condition of your body. Your brain is constantly monitoring and regulating an enormous biological machine, most of which you have absolutely no control over. Thank Christ. Imagine having to remember beat heart, digest sandwich, release insulin. I forgot the kidneys. You'll be dead before lunchtime. And from this constant flood of signals, your brain constructs something else. A feeling, a remarkably convincing feeling, that there is a stable person in here. You. And now we're in trouble, because what exactly is you? Point to yourself. Most people point somewhere around their chest. Interesting choice. Your kidneys are in there as well. Nobody ever points at those. Maybe you point at your head? Better, I suppose. So where in your head? Frontal cortex? Thalamus? Medulla oblongata? Pick a neuron. Which one is you? There happen to be about 86 billion neurons in the human brain. None of them knows your name. None of them know you're watching this video. A neuron does neuron things. It receives signals, changes electrical state, releases neurotransmitters, and that's about it. And yet somehow, billions of these biological cuties are working together to produce thoughts, which in turn lead to actions. There is no obvious tiny control room, no little version behind your eyes, which is unfortunate because that would have made things a hell of a lot easier. Instead, there are networks, processes, feedback loops, signals influencing signals, and out of all of this, somehow emerges the experience, I am me. We don't fully understand how subjective conscious experience arises. That's important. We understand enormous amounts about the brain. We can measure neural activity, alter behaviour, change perception, watch what happens when particular systems are damaged. But why any of this processing is accompanied by an inner experience at all remains a profound scientific and philosophical problem. Why isn't the brain simply doing all this in the dark? Why does red feel like something? Why does pain hurt? Why is there something it is like to be you? Maybe the self isn't a thing the brain contains. Maybe the self is something the brain does. Like a flame, you can point at a flame, name it, and watch it. But the flame isn't a static object, it's an ongoing process. Fuel enters, matter leaves, the pattern persists. And just because the pattern persists, we still call it the same flame. Maybe we're all like that. Not an object, a pattern, a biological process maintaining itself from moment to moment, while insisting, yep, this is still me. Except one day it won't be. Your brain changes constantly, memories disappear, beliefs change. The child you once were had your name, your face, and an entirely different world inside their head. Yet somehow, through every version of yourself, you've carried this persistent feeling, I am still me. Maybe that's the remarkable part. Your brain has never seen the outside world. It sits in darkness, receiving signals, making predictions, building a reality, and from electrical impulses, it somehow gives you sunsets, music, faces, love, fear, grief. The realization that one day all of this will end, an entire universe assembled behind your very eyes. The universe will carry on, but yours will not. And right now, it's predicting another moment, then another, then another. For your entire life, there has always been an answer to what happens next, until eventually, there isn't.